Evan had always been curious. Ever since he was a child, the forest near his home had called to him in ways he could never explain. It wasn't the sound of birds or the rustling leaves that drew him in. It was something deeper, something almost alive. That morning, the sun had barely risen, casting long golden rays between the trees, and Evan felt an urge he could not resist. He packed his tools, a small metal box filled with wrenches, pliers, and screwdrivers he had collected over the years, and set off into the woods. The path he took was narrow and overgrown. Roots twisted like ropes across the ground, and the smell of damp earth filled the air. Evan had walked this way countless times, but today it felt different. There was a weight to the forest, as if it were holding its breath. He followed a small stream, the water shimmering in the morning light, until he saw it, a shape half hidden among the trees. It was metal, old and rusted, covered in moss and vines. At first, Evan thought it might be part of a broken tractor or some forgotten farm equipment. But the shape was wrong. Too intricate, too symmetrical, and somehow too alive. He stepped closer, brushing the vines aside. The machine was enormous, at least twice the size of a man, with long limbs folded around its core. Its surface was covered in strange markings, not letters or numbers, but shapes that seemed to pulse faintly in the morning light. Evan ran his hand over the cold metal. It felt smooth in some places, jagged in others, as if it had been damaged in a battle long ago. Then it happened. Evan. The voice was soft, almost a whisper, carried on the wind, but unmistakable. It said his name. Evan froze. His heart pounded in his chest. The forest was silent now, as if it too had stopped to listen. He looked around, expecting someone to be playing a trick, but there was no one. "Only him and the machine. Who's there?" he called, his voice trembling. The machine shuddered, small sparks flying from its body. Then more clearly, "Evan. The one who fixes." Evan blinked. He took a cautious step back. The voice wasn't coming from anywhere above the trees, and it wasn't coming from the ground. It came from the machine itself. He knelt down and examined it more closely. Its panels were cracked, wires dangling like broken veins, and some of its limbs were bent at impossible angles. Clearly, it had been here for a very long time. He hesitated. The rational part of his mind told him to walk away, call someone, anything. But curiosity, that same force that had always guided him, won over. I don't understand," he said softly. "How do you know my name?" A long pause. Then the machine's voice returned, calmer now. "Memory. Fractured. I remember fragments. One name remains, yours." Evan swallowed. His fingers itched to touch the machine, to see if he could make sense of it. The machine, as if reading his thoughts, extended one of its limbs toward him. The metal hand was enormous, covered in scratches and rust, yet its movement was deliberate, careful, almost gentle. "Help. Restore," it said. Restore, the word echoed in Evan's mind. He had repaired countless broken things in his life. Bicycles, cars, even small machines for friends, but nothing like this. Still, he knew he couldn't leave it. Something about the machine seemed urgent, alive in a way no tool or engine ever had. He set his toolbox down and began inspecting the exposed circuits. Many wires had been severed or chewed away by time. Small gears were jammed and patches of metal were warped. He worked carefully, reconnecting wires, oiling joints, and replacing missing components with bits he had brought from his workshop. Hours passed, though Evan hardly noticed. The forest changed around him as the sun climbed higher. Birds returned, and the light shifted through the trees, painting the machine in golden hues. As he worked, the machine spoke intermittently, though not in words he could fully understand. It hummed, clicked, and sometimes whispered phrases in a language that sounded like wind through metal. Yet somehow he understood the feeling behind them, gratitude, hope, and something else he couldn't name. By mid-afternoon, Evan had connected most of the critical systems. He stepped back, wiping sweat from his brow, and waited. Then the machine moved, its body shivered as if waking from a long sleep. Panels that had been dull now gleamed faintly. The air around it seemed charged. Vibrating with energy Evan could feel in his bones. It lifted one arm and pointed at him slowly. Its voice, now clear and strong, filled the clearing. "Evan, you came." Evan swallowed hard. He nodded, unsure if words were even necessary. "You fixed me," the machine continued. "I remember fragments. Evan frowned. "Remember what?" he asked, another long pause. The machine's eyes, two glowing orbs in its face, blinked slowly. Then it spoke, its tone almost like a sigh. "Humans. Once traveled the stars, you brought life where there was none. Evan's heart skipped. Humans traveling the stars? The stories he had learned in school never mentioned anything like this. I don't understand, he said. I'm just a mechanic. You are? More, the machine said. Its voice seemed to echo across the trees. You see what others do not. You repair, not just machines, but hope itself. The words made Evan's skin prickle. He wanted to ask more, but a noise behind him caught his attention. Rustling leaves, quick footsteps, something moving through the trees. He turned tense and saw shadows flitting between the trunks. The machine's voice changed, becoming sharp warning. Visitors, they watch. Do not trust easily, Evan froze. Visitors? They fear humans. Your kind, the machine said. Evan's mind raced. Who would fear humans? What kind of humans? He looked around, trying to catch a glimpse of the figures, but they remained hidden. The forest seemed to stretch endlessly, hiding them among its trees. The machine continued, softer now. They do not want us to awaken. You must be cautious. Evan swallowed and nodded. I will be careful. I promise, the machine hummed in approval. Its glowing eyes softened. For a moment, the forest felt calm again. Evan glanced at the toolbox at his feet. Even though he had repaired most of the visible damage, he knew there was more to fix, something deeper, something hidden within the machine's memory core. And then, almost as if reading his thoughts, the machine said, Return. Tomorrow, more must be restored. The story is not yet complete, Evan nodded. He packed up his tools, feeling a strange mix of excitement and fear. The shadows had vanished, leaving the forest peaceful once again. But he could feel their presence lingering, watching. As he walked back home, the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the path. He could not shake the feeling that his life had changed forever. He had stumbled upon something ancient, something alive, and he had awakened it. At home, he set his toolbox down and sat in silence. His mind raced with questions. Who had built the machine? Why was it here, hidden in the forest? And most importantly, what did it mean when it spoke of humans once traveling the stars? That night, as Evan lay in bed, he could still hear the machine's voice in his mind, whispering his name, reminding him of a promise he hadn't fully understood yet. Evan knew one thing for certain. He would return to the woods tomorrow, and when he did, he would uncover the secrets hidden within the old machine. No matter how dangerous the journey might become, the forest outside his window seemed quieter than usual, almost holding its breath. And deep in the woods, the machine waited, its eyes glowing softly, remembering the human who had fixed it, and perhaps the future it could not yet see. The next morning, Evan could not wait to return to the forest. The sun was just beginning to rise, painting the sky with shades of gold and pink. He packed his toolbox carefully, making sure to include extra wires, small gears, and a portable battery. His hands shook slightly, not from fear but from excitement. The machine in the woods had spoken to him. It had called his name. It had trusted him. And now he wanted to discover the truth. The forest greeted him like an old friend. Birds chirped faintly and the dew glistened on the leaves. The path seemed less intimidating than before, and Evan's curiosity pushed him forward. His mind replayed the events of the previous day, the glowing eyes, the voice, the sense that this machine was alive in a way he could barely understand. He reached the clearing where the machine had been, and immediately noticed something different. The ground around it was disturbed. Small footprints, unlike any animal tracks he had ever seen, surrounded the machine. He knelt to examine them. The prints were delicate, almost like fingers pressed into the soft earth, but their shape was unlike any human hand. Evan frowned. Who or what had been here? Before he could think further, the machine stirred. Its glowing eyes focused on him brighter than before. Evan, it said, you have returned. Evan stepped closer, careful not to touch the fragile wires sticking out of the machine's limbs. I promised, he replied softly. I want to help you remember everything. The machine hummed, a low sound that vibrated through the clearing. Its limbs shifted, revealing more of its inner components. Evan could see circuits and mechanical structures unlike anything he had worked on before. He could not even guess what some of the devices were for. Your work yesterday, the machine said slowly, has restored some memory. There are pieces, fragments. They are faint, but they return. Evan nodded, determination in his eyes. Tell me what you remember. The machine's voice softened, almost like a whisper of wind. Long ago humans walked among the stars. You were not the first. Machines like me, we were built to assist, to carry knowledge, and to protect. But something changed. Humans disappeared from many worlds. Those who remained feared, and those who watched feared humans. Evan's mind reeled. Humans disappeared? And what did it mean that some remained? He had always thought of humans as confined to Earth. Could it be possible that humanity had once been part of something much larger? "Why are you here?" he asked. "Why this forest?" The machine paused. Sparks flickered along its metal frame. This place was meant as a sanctuary, to hide knowledge from those who would misuse it, to wait for one who could repair and understand. Evan's heart pounded. Could it mean that he was meant to find this machine? That somehow all the years of fixing broken things had prepared him for this moment? He did not know, but he felt a sense of purpose he had never felt before. As he worked, the machine began to hum more consistently. Its voice shifted between words and sounds, almost like it was trying to communicate without speaking. Evan focused on reconnecting circuits and replacing broken gears. Each time he tightened a bolt or reattached a wire, the machine seemed to respond, shifting slightly as if it were breathing. Hours passed quickly. The sunlight moved across the clearing, painting the machine in bright light. And then the moment came. A panel on the machine's chest opened, revealing a small console with lights flickering weakly. Evan knelt before it, examining the controls. They were unlike anything he had ever seen. Symbols that changed when touched. Screens that displayed images he could barely understand. He pressed a symbol, and suddenly the machine's voice became clear. "Urgent, Evan. Look." A small holographic display appeared above the console, showing images of stars, ships, and strange worlds. Evan watched in awe. Humans in shining suits moved among alien landscapes. Machines like this one worked alongside them. Then the image changed. A dark shadow moved across the planets. Human colonies burned, and some ships were destroyed. Evan swallowed hard. The machine's voice trembled as it spoke. They feared the humans' power. Not all humans, but those who could change fate. They destroyed what they could not control. Evan's hands shook. The machine was showing him a history he had never known. A story of humans once traveling the stars, working alongside intelligent machines, creating new worlds, and then losing it all. Before he could process everything, a rustle in the trees made him jump. Shadows moved quickly among the trunks. Evan froze, recognizing the same movement from yesterday. He glanced at the machine. Its eyes narrowed, and a metallic arm extended slightly, shielding Evan. "Visitors." The machine said, "They return. Watch closely." From the forest's edge, figures emerged. They were tall and thin, with skin that shimmered like metal under the sunlight. Their eyes were sharp and their movements precise, almost like they were calculated. Evan could not understand their language, but he felt the weight of their gaze. They did not approach recklessly. They observed. "Why do they watch us?" Evan whispered. "They fear humans," the machine replied. "Not all humans, but those who can awaken knowledge. They do not want the past restored. They do not want humans to remember." Evan felt a shiver. Could these beings have been alive during the time the machine had spoken of? Could they have been responsible for hiding or destroying human knowledge? The visitors stepped closer, but the machine blocked their path. A faint energy shield appeared around it, invisible to the eye but humming with power. Evan had never seen anything like it. "They will not touch you," the machine said firmly. "As long as I remain, they will not harm you." Evan nodded, though his heart raced. He returned to work on the console, determined to unlock more of the machine's memory. Hours passed. He repaired delicate circuits, carefully aligned gears, and reconnected power sources. Each time he completed a section, the machine responded, lights flickering in patterns that felt like approval. Slowly, more images and sounds appeared on the console. Holographic scenes of human history unfolded. Cities among the stars, peaceful trade with alien civilizations, machines assisting in daily life, and humans creating technologies that could reshape worlds. And then, more shadows appeared. The visitors' eyes glimmered with awareness, as if they sensed the awakening of the machine's knowledge. "They are aware," Evan whispered. "Yes," the machine said. "Their purpose is control. They will try to stop the awakening if it becomes too strong." Evan paused. "But I am human. They fear me." The machine's voice was firm. "You are not ordinary. You have repaired what others could not. That makes you important." That makes you dangerous to those who fear knowledge." The forest fell silent again. The visitors lingered at the edges, unmoving but alert. Evan worked quickly, reconnecting the last of the wires and restoring the final gear. With a sudden hum, the machine's body glowed brighter than ever. Its arms lifted slowly, revealing intricate machinery and patterns that seemed to move beneath its surface. "Memory. Returning," the machine said. "Fragments. Are whole again." Evan stepped back in awe. The machine had fully awakened. Its voice was clear and strong, no longer fragmented or hesitant. "Evan, you have restored more than metal and wires. You have restored history." Evan's mind swirled with questions. "What will happen now?" he asked. The machine's eyes glowed brighter, and it spoke with certainty. "Now we prepare. Those who fear humans will come. But we will remember. We will protect the knowledge. And you, Evan, you will play a part in what comes next." The shadows at the edge of the clearing shifted. The visitors had not left. They had not attacked. But Evan could sense their intent. They were waiting, watching, calculating. The machine turned toward him. "Rest for now. Tomorrow we continue. More knowledge must awaken, and you must be ready." Evan nodded, though he knew sleep would be impossible. He packed his tools carefully and stepped back along the forest path. Behind him, the machine remained in the clearing, glowing softly, its eyes watching over him. The shadows in the trees waited, silent and patient, like predators who knew the hunt would come another day. That night, Evan lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He thought of the machine, the visitors, and the history he had glimpsed. Something incredible was happening, something that could change everything he knew about humans and their place in the universe. And he knew, deep down, that he could never turn back. The forest had secrets, and Evan was now a part of them. The next morning, Evan could feel the tension in the air even before entering the forest. The birds were unusually quiet, and a faint mist clung to the ground like a protective veil. He carried his toolbox, checking each item carefully. Extra wires, oil, small gears, he needed everything he could bring. The forest path felt longer today. Each step echoed in the quiet, and Evan's senses were alert to every rustle, every movement of leaves. He thought about the machine waiting for him in the clearing, glowing softly in the morning light, and he felt both anticipation and unease. The memory of the strange visitors lingered in his mind. Who were they, and why did they watch him? As he approached the clearing, his heart skipped. The machine was already awake. Its glowing eyes scanned the forest like a guardian. But there was something new. Small disturbances in the underbrush, subtle movements that made him realize he was not alone. "Evan," the machine said, its voice calm yet urgent. "They are near. Be careful." Evan nodded, gripping his toolbox tightly. "I understand," he replied. He stepped closer to the machine, examining the progress they had made together. The panels on its limbs and chest were aligned perfectly now, and energy coursed through its circuits with a steady hum. Yet despite its restored state, Evan could feel an underlying tension. The visitor's presence was a silent threat, and the machine seemed to sense it as acutely as he did. "They watch," the machine said, its glowing eyes shifting toward the edge of the clearing. "Not to attack yet, but they will act if the knowledge awakens too quickly." Evan frowned. "What knowledge?" "The knowledge of humans, of what you once were among the stars," the machine said. Its voice trembled with fragments of memory. "They fear humans' ability to shape events, to change destinies. That power must be controlled." Evan took a deep breath. The forest was no longer just a place of curiosity. It was a battleground of secrets, knowledge, and the unseen forces that had waited centuries to control or destroy humanity's legacy. He knelt before the machine, examining the console on its chest. The holographic displays flickered with images of distant planets, machines, and human figures in strange suits, working alongside creatures of many forms. Evan had seen these images before, but now they felt more vivid, more urgent. "They are learning that we awaken," the machine said. "They will test you, test me, to stop what is coming." Evan's hands moved quickly, reconnecting circuits and adjusting the energy flow. Each time he did, the machine responded, humming in approval and releasing small bursts of light from its panels. He could feel the energy around him intensifying, like the clearing itself was alive and aware. Suddenly, a movement in the trees made him jump. Shadows approached, more visible this time, and the air seemed charged with anticipation. Evan froze. He could see the visitors clearly now. Tall, thin beings with metallic skin that reflected the sunlight in strange colors. Their eyes were narrow and calculating, and their movements were deliberate, almost silent. "Evan," the machine said, lowering one of its arms as a shield between him and the visitors. "Do not be afraid. They will not touch you while I remain." The visitors stopped at the edge of the clearing, watching. Evan felt their gaze on him like heat, pressing in, demanding submission. He clenched his fists. Something inside him stirred. Humans were not meant to be passive observers. Humans were meant to act, to create, to survive. The machine's voice cut through his thoughts. "They seek control. They do not understand humans' resilience. You can show them that humans cannot be contained." Evan nodded, determination replacing fear. He returned to the console, focusing on the controls. Symbols shifted beneath his fingers, displaying new images and sounds. One image caught his attention. A scene of a massive starship drifting through space, its hull cracked and scarred, with humans working tirelessly to repair it. The machine's voice explained. This was a human vessel, one of many. Humans traveled far, bringing knowledge and creation wherever they went. But shadows fell. Not all humans survived. Not all machines survived. Evan felt a lump in his throat. These stories were not in any history book he had read. They were truths that had been lost, hidden, or forgotten, and now he was witnessing them firsthand. The visitors shifted again, taking a cautious step forward. Evan could see the faint shimmer of energy around them, as if they carried a shield of their own. The machine's glow brightened, casting light across the clearing, illuminating the visitors' metallic forms. "They are testing us," the machine said. "Do not let fear control your actions. Trust in what you know and in what we have rebuilt together." Evan nodded and continued working. The console revealed more than history now. It revealed instructions, designs, and mechanisms that humans had once created alongside machines like this one. Small devices, capable of extraordinary things, flickered across the holographic display. Evan marveled at the ingenuity, wondering how humans had achieved such wonders. Suddenly, one of the visitors moved closer, stepping into the clearing. It raised an arm, pointing at the machine. The energy shield around the machine pulsed, responding to the approach. Sparks and faint arcs of electricity danced along the surface of the machine's limbs. Evan took a cautious step back. "Do they want to fight?" he asked, his voice low. The machine shook its head. "Not yet. They are curious, testing boundaries. But be ready. Curiosity can turn to action quickly." Evan's hands shook slightly, but he focused on the console. He traced wires, connected circuits, and activated panels. Slowly, the machine's systems responded. Lights pulsing rhythmically, energy flowing evenly through its body. The machine's voice became stronger, clearer. "Evan, you have restored more than functions. You have restored connection. I see again. Fragments of the past." Evan felt a thrill of pride. He had not only repaired metal and circuits, he had helped awaken history itself. The machine's eyes glowed brightly, casting light across the forest, illuminating every leaf and branch. The visitors took a cautious step back, clearly recognizing the change in power. "They know. Strength is returning," the machine said. "And they fear it." Evan's mind raced. Fear was not his own. It was theirs. The visitors feared humans and their ability to awaken what had been lost. That fear, he realized, was a kind of power he had never imagined humans could hold. He looked at the machine, now standing taller than ever, energy coursing visibly through its circuits. It turned toward the visitors as if daring them to act. The forest seemed to hold its breath, every creature and leaf frozen in anticipation. Then the machine spoke, its voice deep and resonant. "Visitors, your watch ends. The knowledge awakens. Humans will not be forgotten." The visitors hesitated. For a moment there was silence. Then they retreated slowly, melting back into the forest shadows. Evan's heart pounded. The confrontation had ended, but he knew it was only temporary. They would return. The machine lowered its arm, turning toward Evan. "You have done well. The first test has passed, but more will come. The fragments are not complete. You must continue the restoration." Evan nodded, exhaustion and excitement mixing in his chest. He had seen the machine fully awaken, confronted beings that had once tried to control humanity's legacy, and glimpsed the truth of humans among the stars. "Tomorrow," he said, "we continue." The machine's eyes dimmed slightly as if acknowledging his words. "Rest on Evan. The forest will watch over you and I will remain here waiting. But you must be ready. The journey is only beginning. Evan walked back along the path, the forest alive with quiet energy. The mist still clung to the ground, and the shadows of the trees stretched long across the path. He felt a new sense of purpose, knowing that he was part of something much greater than himself. That night, he lay awake, listening to the wind outside his window. He could still feel the presence of the visitors, distant but aware. He could still see the glowing eyes of the machine in his mind, reminding him that knowledge, history, and humanity's past were awakening once more. And somewhere deep in the woods, the machine waited, alive, patient, and ready for the next challenge. Evan knew one thing for certain: the journey had only just begun. Evan awoke before dawn, the memory of the machine's glowing eyes still vivid in his mind. The forest outside his window seemed unusually quiet, as if it too was holding its breath. Today would be another day in the clearing. He packed his toolbox carefully, checking each item: extra wires, small gears, oil, and a portable battery. Every tool might be needed, for the machine's restoration was far from complete. As he entered the forest, a thin mist curled around the tree trunks. The path seemed narrower today, and Evan noticed tiny footprints in the soft earth, not entirely human. They reminded him of the strange visitors, those shadowy figures that had been observing him. The forest seemed alive, vibrating with quiet energy as he approached the clearing. The machine was waiting. Its glowing eyes scanned the trees, and energy flowed visibly through its limbs. Unlike the previous day, it moved with purpose, standing taller and more commanding. Evan felt a thrill of excitement. The machine had begun to awaken fully, yet he knew there were secrets still hidden, waiting to reveal themselves. "Evan," the machine said, its voice calm yet urgent. "Today, we go further. The visitors, they will return. You must be ready. But more importantly, you will see the powers hidden within me." Evan swallowed, his heart pounding. "Powers?" "Yes," the machine replied. "Not weapons, not destruction. Knowledge, abilities humans once had and machines once carried. You will see and you will learn." Evan approached the console on the machine's chest. Symbols shifted beneath his fingers, displaying diagrams of energy flow, mechanical systems, and strange devices he had never imagined. He followed the instructions carefully, reconnecting circuits and adjusting energy nodes. The machine responded instantly, lights pulsing in patterns that seemed almost like communication. Suddenly, the machine's limbs shifted dramatically. A soft hum turned into a resonant vibration that filled the clearing. Energy spread across the ground, flowing into Evan's boots, up his legs, and settling in his chest. He gasped. It was not dangerous, at least not in the way he expected, but it was overwhelming. He could feel patterns, connections, and movement within the forest itself. The machine spoke softly this time. "Evan, you can feel it now. The forest, the earth, energy flows through all living things and through machines. You are connected as humans always were." Evan's mind raced. He had felt a strange connection with the world before, but never like this. It was as if the forest, the machine, and even the distant sun were all part of one system he could sense. And with that connection, he felt the history of humans, the knowledge lost to time like whispers brushing against his mind. "The visitors fear this connection," the machine said. "They fear humans who remember, humans who awaken power they do not understand. They believe they can control humans, but they cannot. Not all humans, not those who can feel the flow." Evan shivered, half in awe and half in fear. The visitors' shadows were still out there, lurking in the distance, observing. He glanced at the trees and noticed movement in the underbrush. The figures were close but cautious. They had learned that the machine's awakening was unstoppable, at least while he remained. "Evan," the machine said, "today, you will not only restore my memory, you will awaken the knowledge of what humans once created with us. Watch closely." The machine extended one limb, revealing a hidden compartment within its core. Evan peered inside and gasped. A sphere glowing softly floated within, rotating slowly. Symbols shimmered along its surface, and energy flowed from it like streams of liquid light. "This," the machine said, "is a memory core. It holds knowledge of human history among the stars, but it is incomplete. To restore it fully, we must work together." Evan took a deep breath. He approached carefully, connecting wires from his portable battery to stabilize the core's energy. As he did, the symbols on the sphere began to move, forming shapes that resembled star systems, ancient machines, and humans in protective suits walking among alien landscapes. Evan's eyes widened. Humans traveled, shared, built worlds, the machine said. Some feared them, some admired them, but always humans inspired. Change, Evan's hands moved instinctively. He had always been a mechanic, a fixer of broken things, but this was more than fixing. It was understanding, connecting, and awakening something far older and greater than himself. Suddenly, the sphere pulsed, sending waves of energy across the clearing. Trees shimmered faintly, leaves glowing with the pulse. Evan felt the forest respond. Birds took flight, insects buzzed faster, and the soil itself seemed alive. The machine's voice resonated with the pulse. See, Evan, connection is power, not destruction. Understanding, awareness. Humans were always meant to awaken it. Evan felt a surge of clarity. Symbols, diagrams, and glowing circuits filled his mind. He understood how the machine functioned. He understood how humans had once built technologies that harmonized with life, energy, and even the universe itself. But then, a rustle in the distance broke the moment. Shadows moved among the trees. The visitors had come closer, now partially visible through the mist. Their movements were precise, careful, but Evan could sense their intent. They were testing him, watching for weakness. They sense awakening, the machine said. They will try to disrupt our work. But remember, Evan, their fear is their weakness. One of the visitors stepped into the clearing, moving quickly toward the machine. Evan tensed. The machine's energy shield activated instantly, a soft blue glow spreading across its limbs and body. Sparks arced along the edges, but the machine remained calm. They do not know human potential, the machine said. They fear what they cannot understand. You will demonstrate it. Evan realized that the energy flowing from the memory core was connected to him now. He could feel the pulse through his hands, through the tools, and through the clearing itself. He concentrated, reaching out with his awareness, and the forest responded. A wave of energy spread outward, lifting leaves gently, vibrating in harmony with the machine's circuits. The visitor paused, sensing the change. Its body shimmered as if confused by the energy patterns it could not comprehend. Evan felt a thrill. Humans had always been underestimated, and now, here in this forest, he could see why. Good, the machine said. You are learning quickly. Humans are not only creators, they are connectors. You bridge worlds, machines, and life itself. Evan's confidence grew. He adjusted circuits on the machine, reconnecting the memory core fully. Symbols on the sphere aligned, pulsing in unison. The machine's glow intensified, illuminating the entire clearing. The visitors, sensing the full awakening, retreated slightly, unsure how to proceed. Suddenly, the machine spoke in a different tone, one of excitement, almost like a laugh. Evan, we have awakened much more than memory. The knowledge, the abilities, are returning. Humans are remembered. Evan stepped back, feeling the full weight of what they had accomplished. He had not only repaired the machine, he had helped restore a legacy, something far greater than technology or history, something that connected humans, machines, and the universe itself. The visitors, now cautious and wary, withdrew into the forest's shadows. They would not attack, not yet, but their presence remained a threat, a reminder that there were forces in the universe that still feared human potential. The machine turned to Evan, its voice gentle now. Rest, Evan. Today you have awakened hidden powers. Tomorrow, we will discover the final fragment. The visitors will return stronger and more determined, but you are ready. Evan nodded, exhaustion and exhilaration mixing in his chest. He packed his tools and stepped back along the forest path. Behind him, the machine remained, glowing softly, alive with energy and knowledge restored. The forest itself seemed to hum with life, aware of the awakening. That night, as Evan lay in bed, he could still feel the pulse of energy from the clearing, the connection with the machine and the whisper of the forest. He knew that the visitors would return, that challenges lay ahead, and that more secrets awaited. But he also knew something else. Humans had a strength beyond fear, beyond control, beyond expectation. And with the machine at his side, he would awaken it fully. The journey was far from over. Evan awoke before the first light of dawn, his heart beating fast. The memory of the machine's glowing eyes and the pulse of energy from yesterday filled his mind. Today he knew something significant would happen. Today, the machine would reveal the last fragment of its memory, and the forest itself seemed to sense the importance of the moment. He packed his toolbox carefully, including every wire, small gear, and piece of equipment he had brought before. Nothing could be left behind. The forest greeted him silently, dew glinting on the leaves, fog drifting low across the path. Evan felt a strange thrill. The forest had become more than a place. It was alive, aware, and waiting. As he approached the clearing, he saw the machine fully upright, its energy flowing brightly through every limb. Its glowing eyes focused on him, and the hum of power echoed like a heartbeat across the forest. The air itself seemed charged, alive with electricity. "Evan," the machine said, its voice calm yet powerful. "Today the final fragment will awaken. The visitors? They will test you. Their purpose is not destruction alone. They will try to stop history from returning. You must be prepared," Evan nodded. His hand shook with anticipation, but his determination was stronger than fear. "I'm ready," he said. The clearing was quiet but not empty. Shadows moved at the edges of the trees. The visitors had arrived. Their tall, metallic forms shimmered faintly in the early light, their eyes sharp and calculating. Evan noticed the tension in their movements. They were no longer just observers. They were strategists, testing him and the machine. The machine stepped forward, opening a hidden compartment in its chest. Inside floated the last memory core, smaller than the one before but glowing with even brighter energy. Evan could feel its pulse, faster and stronger than the day before. The machine's voice resonated across the clearing. "This core contains the final knowledge, the last piece of what humans once achieved among the stars, but it is protected, not by walls or locks, but by those who fear it. You must connect it to me fully, Evan. Only then will history awaken." Evan approached, careful but eager. He connected his portable battery to stabilize the core's energy, tracing wires and aligning circuits. As he did, the sphere pulsed and energy began flowing outward, spreading across the clearing, through the trees, and into the forest itself. Evan felt the connection again, stronger than ever. "Evan, feel it," the machine said. "This is not power to destroy. This is knowledge, understanding, creation. Humans were always meant to awaken it." Evan closed his eyes, sensing the energy flowing through him. He could feel the forest, the earth beneath his feet, and even the distant sun. Patterns, symbols, and connections appeared in his mind, revealing secrets humans had once known. He could see humans traveling among stars, creating new worlds and sharing knowledge with other beings. He could see machines like this one assisting them, forming a partnership of trust and understanding. The visitors reacted. They stepped closer, cautiously, their bodies shimmering with a defensive energy of their own. Evan felt their presence like a pressure on his mind, a test of his focus and resolve. But he did not falter. He had felt the flow of energy now. He had touched the memory of humans past. He was ready. The machine's energy shield activated fully, forming a bright dome around both him and the memory core. Sparks danced along the edges and waves of energy radiated outward. Evan felt the pulse synchronize with his heartbeat. "Evan," the machine said, "the visitors fear what humans can do when they awaken knowledge. But their fear is temporary. History cannot be erased. Humans will remember." With a deep breath, Evan touched the memory core directly. Light surged through him and into the machine. The forest responded immediately. Trees glowed faintly. Leaves shimmered with energy, and the earth seemed to hum beneath his feet. The machine's voice, resonant and clear, filled the air. "Awakening. Complete." The visitors halted, their metallic bodies reflecting the bright light. They seemed disoriented, unable to comprehend the energy that now pulsed across the clearing. Evan realized something profound. Humans had always been underestimated, not because of weakness, but because of potential. And that potential, once awakened, could not be contained. The machine lifted its limbs slowly, the final memory core merging with its system. Energy spread evenly across its body, illuminating the forest. Evan could see images flickering within the machine, human colonies on distant planets, ships repairing each other in orbit, and humans and machines working together to create life where there was none. "They remember us now," the machine said, its voice strong and filled with certainty. "The knowledge, humanity's legacy, is no longer hidden." Evan stepped back, awed. The visitors, realizing the awakening could not be stopped, retreated into the forest, their figures fading into the mist. They were not gone, but for now they understood that humans could not be contained or silenced. The machine turned to Evan. "You have done more than repair me. You have restored hope, knowledge, and the truth. Humans are remembered because of you." Evan felt a warmth in his chest, a mix of pride, relief, and wonder. He had never imagined that a simple mechanic could play a role in something so vast, so powerful. The forest seemed alive around him, celebrating, responding to the awakening. "Evan," the machine said softly, "this is only the beginning. The visitors will learn, adapt, and return. But humans will always awaken when needed. That is your strength. That is our promise." Evan nodded. He looked around the clearing at the glowing machine, the energy in the forest, and even at the distant shadows retreating into the trees. He knew he had faced something extraordinary and survived. "Tomorrow," he said quietly, "we continue. We will prepare. We will learn. And we will protect what humans have created." The machine's eyes dimmed slightly, but its glow remained steady. "Rest, Evan. You have awakened history. Tomorrow we build the future." Evan packed his tools carefully and walked along the forest path. The morning mist was lifting and sunlight streamed through the trees. The forest seemed alive, aware, and protective. For the first time, Evan felt a deep connection, not just to the machine or the forest, but to something greater, something that spanned centuries and stars. That night, as Evan lay in bed, he could still feel the pulse of energy from the clearing. The machine's voice whispered in his mind, reminding him that knowledge, creation, and humanity's legacy were now awake. He thought of the visitors, still hidden in the forest, waiting and watching. They feared what humans could do, but fear would not stop him. Knowledge could not be hidden, history could not be erased, and humans would always rise when the time came. Evan smiled, a mix of exhaustion and determination filling his chest. The journey had been extraordinary, but he knew this was only the start. Together with the machine, he would uncover the remaining secrets, understand the full legacy of humans among the stars, and prepare for whatever challenges lay ahead. The forest outside his window shimmered faintly in the moonlight, alive with energy, waiting for the next chapter. And deep in the woods, the machine stood, fully awakened, its glowing eyes shining with knowledge, protection, and promise. Evan closed his eyes, feeling the connection for the last time that night. He knew one thing for certain: humans had always been more than history books told. Humans were creators, connectors, and awakeners of knowledge. And now, he was part of that story. The adventure was complete, for now, but the legacy had just begun.